issues, and with every day, the March 4th primary draws near. Early voting any day now. Middle of next month, actually. 5 weeks? We're inside 5 weeks to early voting, and we've spent a lot of time talking about how that crowded lieutenant governor's race is going to go. And we spent a lot of time talking about how the attorney general's race is going to go. And obviously, when one of your United States Senate seats is up, that's going to be interesting at the primary level. You have John Cornyn seeking to keep that job, and some folks looking to say, no, maybe there's an alternative. Among them is Dwayne Stovall, who joins us from Austin. Hi, Mr. Stovall. Welcome. How are you?
How are you, Mark? Glad to be here.
Doing great. By way of meeting you and becoming familiar with you, you are down there in UT land visiting your son. Tell me about him. Tell me about the family.
I've got, I've been married 22 years. I'm 48 years old. I've got 3 children. My oldest son is a freshman here at the University of Texas, and I was dropping by to, get a handshake and a bro hug from my son before I head down to Fredericksburg to an event there for a Republican Party. So
that sounds like priorities done well. Congratulations on that. And so along the campaign trail, how's it going? This is heady stuff to say I'm going to take out a sitting U.S. Senator.
Well, especially heady stuff for a guy who has absolutely no political affiliations whatsoever. I'm the farthest you're ever going to find from somebody who's groomed for politics. I'm the most average native Texan you'll find. Just a dad, a member of the school board in our local school district in Tarkington Independent School District. And it's been going extremely well. I'm in awe of the amount of people who have come to support me. I've got just under 1,000 volunteers right now. We've got, at last count, I think 18 or 20 regional coordinators. The structure of my campaign is excellent. It's just fantastic. I'm floored at how much support has come, and for just an average guy.
I'm always fascinated in the mechanics of a race, and if you've got Cornyn and you've got some people who are reaching forward to say, I'm not Cornyn, how many of you are there? There's you, who I heard of first, actually. And then along came Congressman Stockman, who decided, well, I want to get in this thing, too. Is part of your job, it's like you got 2 jobs. Show that you're an alternative to Cornyn, but also show that you're a better alternative than Stockman in being the anti-Cornyn. You follow me?
Yeah, I do. Steve, for those that don't know, Steve's my congressman. So Steve getting into the race didn't really affect what I was doing at all. I come from a little bit of a different vantage point. Steve brings his own issues to the race. He'll deal with those himself. But my message is pretty clear, and it's very easy for everybody to grasp. I just very simply put everything into the context of historical truthism. You can't get out of debt by creating more debt. If you're going to tell me you're looking after my best interest and the best interest of my children and the best interest of Texas, don't lie to me and go do things that negate that. And that's exactly what we've gotten for the last decade.
Well, let's get right to it, because every primary is about saying I am better than the guy who's there now. I'm better than the guys running against me. What are they? Give me what's at the top of your list of Cornyn's flaws?
The most simple one is I have an absolutely clear understanding of the proper role of a U.S. Senator, and I don't think Senator Cornyn understands that at all. Senator Cornyn, his behavior in the Senate has been very nationalist. The design of the Senate by people like Roger Sherman and George Mason was to be a check on the federal by the state. Right. George Mason quite literally call it the mechanism of self-defense for the state. If you look at the behavior of Senator Cornyn since his election the first time in 2002, he's generally voted with the Democrats to raise the debt, grow the size and scope of federal government, and to give it unconstitutional powers at almost every opportunity. That is not in the best interest of the state of Texas. And I don't know about you, but everyone talks out of both sides of their mouths about debt. It's like we know we can't sustain what we're doing, but no one is willing to draw that proverbial line in the sand and say we're not going to do this anymore. I'm willing to do that.
Is it your view that Senator Cornyn is it's kind of funny you say voted with Democrats, as did most, in some cases, many Republicans. And is that kind of the problem as you see it, that we have, it's the old joke, the difference between a Republican and a Democrat is a Republican will make government bigger too, but he'll say he feels terrible about it.
Right, exactly. You hit that right on the head. Now, I don't like labels. I did learn this very quickly getting out into public and talking. I dislike labels. I'm a conservative. People have really twisted conservatism around. I'm a root word guy. You have to be conserving something, whether it's the fruits of my labor or my freedom or the sovereignty of the state or the sovereignty of this country. You got to be protecting something, conserving something. These people don't do that. it doesn't really matter whether you're Republican or you're a Democrat. If you are consistently helping that federal government grow outside its constitutional bounds, you're part of the problem, and that's what we have.
For the easiest comparison point, and if this oversimplifies, tell me, are you more in the Ted Cruz mold?
Oh, I would say so. I tell everybody I have Jeffersonian principles. And anybody with Jeffersonian principles who understands the Constitution as written and amended would agree with Ted Cruz's philosophy. He's very principled. And that's what's lost on everybody. The establishment, the higher ends, and the big political machine take him to task. But they constantly take him to task for what? Because he stands on principle. Well, that's the lost aspect of governance. If you could get everybody to stand on principle, you'd have a different dynamic altogether. He's standing not necessarily alone, but there's very few of him compared to the rest.
Dwayne Stovall is with us. Website is Texans for Stovall, Stovall, TexansForStovall.com. Let's work our way through some U.S. Senate type issues. Where are you on all of this NSA surveillance deal?
For me, and when we're talking about the incumbent here, with Senator Cornyn being in support of things like the Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act and extending those continuously and the FISA courts, the FISA amendments and all that, for me, I don't necessarily see them as being things you have to completely repeal. I think they're things that we've got to isolate, those things that affect our liberties as citizens of this country. I understand the prospect of protecting us. National security. I am unwilling to give up 1 ounce of my liberty to this tyrannical government in the face of them telling me that it's for my best, my good.
Gotcha. So are we a fan or not of Edward Snowden?
I'm glad he did it.
Ooh.
I'm glad he did it. I think there's an argument to be made that he should be brought up to trial, but I think there's another argument to be made that he has a defense that he can pose. He signs contracts. We all do. You take your oath of office to the Constitution.
Yeah.
You also sign a contract that says you won't release confidential documents.
Right.
If you are given orders by someone above you that is in direct contradiction to your oath to protect that Constitution, what do you do?
Yeah, but you don't get to figure out what you think that oath is one day. I mean, if there are unconstitutional orders given to people that are just down the line, objectively unconstitutional, you bet you get to disobey them. If it's a matter of enormous and ongoing public debate, what Mr. Snowden did, he said, well, I'm going to take my interpretation of this, and I'm going to go take this laptop and give it to the Russians.
Well, I think, like I said, I think there's an argument to be made on both sides of this. I think the NSA and the data mining, all of this information that they're taking from us has stolen an absolute. It's not for negotiation. It is stolen a liberty that you and I have that we don't have a choice in, and that is the ability to say no. They take it from us. They've taken it from us without our consent. We cannot say we refuse to participate. We don't want you taking our email. We don't want you taking our phone data. You don't have that choice. They take that from you. So, yeah, he could come up for charges. They could bring him into court. I'm absolutely certain that he probably will one day. Do I think he could pose an argument? I think he could. I think he'd put up a defense. I don't know which way it would go, but personally, I'm glad I know this is going on.
We can't complete our job here today without talking some Obamacare. Best way to dismantle that thing?
I'm one of those that says it's socialism coming and going, and there is no authority under the Constitution for the federal government to tell me I have to buy a good or service. And it's also not there to tell me I've got to provide one at a price set by them. So I say repeal it, and I am absolutely against replacing it with socialism light. Get it out, get it gone, and leave it to the states to take care of as it was designed. The states have that power. The federal government does not.
Was the defunding idea of its likelihood of succeeding was not great, but was it a good idea anyway for inspirational value, or is it smarter to go sort of at it more procedurally in a series of repeal votes?
They went at it correctly. Ted Cruz was right on that. Historically, they've passed budgetary means items at a time, many times throughout our history. They don't have to have these big omnibus lump sum bills passed through, and we're going to take it all or nothing. That hasn't been that way forever. There have been many times in our history where we've passed portionary budgets one item at a time. That's what they should have done here. I wish the Congress would have held us firm back on that and said they're not going to do it.
Dwayne Stovall running for U.S. Senate, and the website is Texans for Stovall, Stovall, TexansForStovall.com. Say hi to your son. How many total kids you got? What do you got there in the family?
I've got 3. One about to graduate from the University of Alabama, who's a senior.
Sorry about that.
We don't even know anybody there.
I love Alabama. I love them. What a heartbreaking year for them. I'm so sorry. But anyway, and who else? I didn't leave somebody else. Good.
I've got an 18-year-old here who's studying economics. I think he's going to be in the engineering department. And I've got a youngest who's our mascot. He's 7 years old, and he's my little anarchist.
Because that's what a 7-year-old does. Well, it's a pleasure to have you. So I know we'll be talking again. It's a hot and heavy season working toward early voting and the primary. God bless and health on the campaign trail. Appreciate you a lot.
Thank you very much, Mark.
You bet. Take care. Dwayne Stovall, Stovall, TexansForStovall.com. All right. Yeah, okay. I know what you're waiting for. All right. He's good. You know, this is not a dismissible guy where you go, oh, it's just some crazy guy who thinks he can beat Cornyn. The people who love Dwayne did not enjoy it when I suggested. This was the longest of shots, and you've heard the Cornyn ads. They're genius. And people may go, some may scoff and go, oh, he's just pretending to be conservative. I mean, whatever. With his questioning of Kathleen Sebelius and those ads, and he's got $1 zillion. I mean, let's just purely objectively, irrespective of what I think about anybody, right? I mean, I've been okay with Cornyn on most things, on some things not. Just talked to Mr. Stovall. He's awesome. He seems very, very cool, very good, and a lot of really good answers. I think he's probably a smidge more conservative than John Cornyn. Boom, there you go. I said it. Now, does that mean he's going to win? Not by itself. You got to have so many things to win. A ton of money. That could be a problem. B, a seething desire on the part of the electorate to get rid of an incumbent. You just don't have that. So I don't know. Will it develop in the next couple of weeks? I don't know. But I will tell you this. Mr. Stovall is a good guy and a good candidate. Those are good answers. He did a good job. Very good job.